Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Exclusive QAnan Shaman in plea negotiations after mental health diagnosis by the lawyer. The participant in the January 6 U.S. Capitol riots, nicknamed the QAnan Shaman, is negotiating a possible plea deal with prosecutors after prison psychologists found he suffers from a variety of mental illnesses, his attorney said. In an interview, defense lawyer Albert Watkins said that officials at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, or BOP, have diagnosed his client Jacob Chansley with transient schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety. The BOP's findings, which have not yet been public, suggest Chansley's mental conditions deteriorated due to the stress of being held in confinement at a jail in Alexandria, Virginia, Watkins said. As he spent more time in solitary confinement, the decline in his acuity was noticeable, even to an untrained eye, Watkins said in an interview on Thursday. He said Chansley's 2006 mental health records from his time in the U.S. Navy show a similar diagnosis to the BOPs, or BOPs. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney Office declined to comment on the case. Chansley is one of the most recognizable of the hundreds of Donald Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol after the then president, in a fiery speech, falsely claimed that his November election defeat was the result of fraud. Chansley of Arizona was photographed inside the Capitol wearing a horned headdress, shirtless, and heavily tattooed. He is a supporter of the QAnan conspiracy theory that cast Trump as a savior figure and elite Democrats as a cabal of Satanists, pedophiles, and cannibals. He faces charges including civil disorder and obstructing an official proceeding. Watkins did not say what Chansley was considering pleading guilty to, but defendants negotiating plea deals typically seek to plead to a less serious charge to reduce their potential prison sentences. Watkins said authorities will need to determine how Chansley can get access to the treatment he needs to actively participate in his own defense. Pleading guilty to a charge negates the need for a trial, but defendants still have to be declared mentally competent to do so. Watkins said the BOP's evaluation of his client did not declare Chansley to be mentally incompetent, and he does not expect Chansley to be ordered to undergo what is known as competency restoration treatment. Chocolate Soup Mess, Watkins said his client has expressed some delusions, including believing that he was indeed related directly to Jesus and Buddha. What we've done is we've taken a guy who is unarmed, harmless, peaceful, with a pre-existing mental vulnerability of significance, and we've rendered him a chocolate soup mess, Watkins said. Federal prosecutors have arrested more than 535 people on charges of taking part in the violence, which saw rioters battle police, smash windows, and send members of Congress and then Vice President Mike Pence running for safety. About 20 defendants so far have pleaded guilty to federal charges in connection with the attack, according to a government tally. Chansley is jailed as he awaits trial after prosecutors convinced the federal judge he remains a danger if released. U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth in May ordered him to undergo a competency evaluation. As of July 5th, he was one of 188 men and women undergoing an initial mental health evaluation to determine if they are competent to stand trial, according to BOP data. The BOP in 2017 was faulted by the Justice Department's Inspector General for its use of special housing units to confine inmates with mental illness. And the BOP agreed to place limits on the amount of the time inmates remained in restrictive housing and to ensure they have meaningful human contact. But the COVID-19 pandemic led the BOP to step up its use of solitary housing units as a way to quarantine inmates to contain the spread of the virus. A BOP spokeswoman that said that inmates are sometimes held alone in a cell, but they are not cut off from human contact or services. While we do have a need to place individuals in a single cell for various reasons, such as medical isolation, they have access to staff and programming, she said. These COVID-19 restrictions, Watkins said, is what led the BOP to place Chansley in solitary confinement. Seeking a competency evaluation for a federal inmate can be a slippery slope for defense attorneys. On the one hand, incompetent defendants cannot be prosecuted if they cannot understand the charges or assist in their defense. However, if a judge declares there is a preponderance of evidence to show a defendant is incompetent to stand trial, then the defendant is jailed because federal law requires inmates undergoing competency restoration treatment to be committed to a federal prison hospital. There are only 3 federal prison hospitals offering restoration treatment for male inmates, and the average wait time for a bed this year for men has been 84 days, according to BOP data. So they're basically trying to claim insanity, and we knew this was coming because you got caught. Every time a person gets caught doing something, they try to play psychological that their psychology's messed up, or they're trying to basically say that they're bipolar. Yet you're so bipolar that you stormed the White House. And this is what I try to tell people about the difference between a black man as opposed to a white man. A black man, I remember I did a story on my page. A kid said, I would like to be tried as a white man. And he said that to the judge and said that to everybody. Everybody looked at him crazy, and he was right. If you want to go get tried, you want to be tried as a white man because they get the benefit of the doubt. The black man doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. Now, is every black man innocent? No, they're not. But is the majority of white people innocent? No, they're not. So what I'm saying is it's the double standard that the law is being used. Judge Joe Brown says it best. The law was made to be the law. There's no balance. There's no emotion in it. There's no coercion in it. It is what it is. You stick to the facts, you argue the facts, and you move on. Nowadays, we become so entertainment driven and so entertainment whorish that we go with the person who basically is more entertaining when instead of going with the person who is more factual and who keeps everything in context. That's how the world works. That's how we live today. You're going to have people who don't like you, who don't believe in what you're saying. Then you're going to have people who like you and believe in what you're saying. That's why we have jurors. We pick jurors, sorry, my southern drawn, to basically be unbiased. A lot of times these guys aren't unbiased. They're not. Now, do I believe he's innocent? No, I don't. I think they put together a plan. They stormed the White House. They were allowed to enter without being met with a lot of force or shot down because they were of pink complexion. If this was black people who did the same thing, rushing the White House, they would have got shot even before they got past the gate. So we've got to keep this in context. You guys can be like, well, you live in a racial world, everything black and white. Yeah, because I'm from the South. A lot of these other brothers are from the North or Midwest or other parts. Their racism is different. They may not deal with racism the same way that we do in the South. And that's no disrespect to them. But I see how I feel and I see what fits. And I've met a lot of brothers who have said that racism exists and is moved to the workplace and it's moved to different type of jobs you go out to go for. They try to hire their good old buddy instead of you because of your complexion. Then I've heard guys who've gotten jobs off of just their merit and off of their grind and off of their consistency to be like, look, I'm good for this job. My qualifications are on point. And they get the job. Now, it's different things. Now, is every white person bad? No. I believe majority are, and I believe some aren't. I believe some don't see color. Blacks are the majority bad? No, I believe some blacks are bad. I think they perceive that the majority of blacks are bad instead of going to do their real research. There's every bad apple in every race group. But the thing is, with the law, they try to butter up and coddle a pink man or somebody that's not of black or African descent. Why? If they're pink or of Caucasian descent, they basically just say, you know what, we're going to try our best to make him feel like he's insane. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this story. I'm finna pull it up now. Let's see. Now, on July 20th, 2012, a mass shooting occurred inside a Century 16 movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, United States, during a midnight screening of the film The Dark Knight Rises. Dressed in tactical clothing, James Egan Holmes set off tear gas grenades and shot into the audience with multiple firearms. 12 people were killed and 70 others were injured, 58 of them from gunfire. It was the deadliest shooting in Colorado since the Columbine High School massacre in '99. At the time, the event had the largest number of victims, 82 in the shooting in modern U.S. history. This number was eventually surpassed by the 107 victims in the 2016 Orlando nightclub shooting. Holmes was arrested minutes later in his car outside the cinema. Earlier, he had rigged his apartment with homemade explosives and incendiary devices. These were defused by the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office bomb squad a day after the shooting. Fearing copycat crimes, movie theaters showing the same film across the U.S. increased their security. Gun sales increased in Colorado, and political debates were generated about gun control in the United States. Holmes confessed to the shooting but pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Arapahoe County prosecutors sought the death penalty in this case. The trial began on April 27, 2015. On July 16th of that year, Holmes was convicted of 24 counts of first-degree murder, 140 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 1 count of possessing explosives. On August 7th, he was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. On August 26th, he was given 12 life sentences, 1 for every person he killed. He also received 3,318 years for the attempted murders of those he wounded for rigging his apartment with explosives. So he tried to plead insanity, but they were seeking the death penalty. They basically said, you know what? We're just going to give you life for each person that was killed. And that's even worse. To me, I don't believe in the death penalty because I don't believe in people playing God. I don't. But this is another case of him trying to prove insanity when he did these things. And this guy's doing the same thing. Now, I'm not comparing their crimes. Now, let's get that out of our head. Let's think with context. Think with your mind. I'm comparing both people who are of pink complexion, how both are using insanity when you weren't insane when you rigged your apartments full of explosives, and you weren't insane when you shot up the movie theater. Same as the guy for QAnan Shaman. QAnan Shaman. You weren't insane when you stormed the Capitol. You weren't insane when you were repping Donald Trump. You weren't insane for none of that stuff. But now you're insane. So that's what I'm saying. The double standard and them being able to try to use that to get out of this. Now, do I think he'll get out of this? No, I don't. Because it shows too much of a bad light on America if they let this guy get off. It's the same thing with Derek Chauvin. They only gave him some years. Now they're prosecuting the other police officers because of the public's outcry, because they're like, okay, we can't just do him and then let all the other guys off easy. Because if it has something to do with us as black men, I could be driving my homeboy. He shot somebody down the street and he got drove on him. We're driving. They're going to arrest me and say that I'm a part of it. I'm guilty by association. So they use it against us a lot. So that's what I'm saying. They have to do this because they don't want to look bad. Everything is about money, politics, and control. Control being the first thing. If they can't control you, it's not, to me, at the end of the day, money is like second or third. It's about control. If they can't control what you watch or control what you do, then basically that's when they change laws and that's when they get upset. We got to pay attention, my people. We got to wake up and smell the coffee or smell the roses, as they say. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you love what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash Apping me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for the support. And we are out. Deezy.